Disney's Phenomenon returns for a second installment in this new release. Frozen took the world by storm in 2013 and has kept millions wanting more ever since. And while the sequel has broken many box office records, how does this one look on the 4K format? We'll be going over the video and audio quality, cover options, and if it's worth your purchase. In for review today is Frozen 2 on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. So unless you're living under a rock somewhere, you've no doubt heard about Frozen, and if you have kids, you've probably seen it a couple hundred times. The sequel tries its best to live up to the original, and while it was a huge success during its theatrical run, I really didn't think it was that much better than the first one. It's definitely not a bad movie, it's fairly solid, but it doesn't overtake the original in my opinion. Disney has been fairly inconsistent with its 4K content in the past year or so. You've got some really good looking discs out there like Moana, and then some really average looking ones like the original Frozen. I found that disc was more on par with the first one. It's a step up in terms of attention to detail and texture, but it isn't an HDR spectacle that it should be. I thought the overall color palette was a little flat, and in scenes where I thought the HDR should be popping off the screen, it was just, well, average. Now, I did like a few scenes, like the Show Yourself montage, for instance, and I thought there were some really good flashes of light here and there in that scene, but for the majority of the film, it just looks okay, nothing impressive. I feel like Disney really doesn't put much effort into the home release since the Frozen franchise is just such a juggernaut, and they know people will fork over the cash without it being an impressive disc. I'm not quite sure where the ball drops, considering Moana was one of the best discs I've ever seen, and it's from the same company, and the film is very popular as well. Now, it's not on the same level as Frozen, but it's still a big winner for Disney. For video quality, I'll give this one a 7.5. It's not a bad image, but it's not going to leave you in awe of the power of 4K by any means, and I actually thought the 1080p Blu-ray wasn't that far behind in quality, to be honest. The audio on this one was nothing impressive either. It was fine, just average, although I will say that I was glad to notice that it didn't suffer from the low sound of most Disney discs. I did turn up the volume a few notches, but nowhere near as much as I've had to turn up for some of the other releases. I'll give this one an 8 for audio quality. As with the image, it's nothing bad, but nothing stellar either. There are several cover options for this film, as every major retailer is going to want to milk this release. The standard cover is basically the theatrical poster, and it's okay, but really nothing eye-catching. Best Buy brings us a beautiful steelbook that I think pairs nicely with the original's release. I really like the image used in this one, and I think it's by far the best option for cover art. Target has its exclusive Digibook release, which I think looks quite nice, and I would rank it second for me in the covers. Walmart tries its hand as an exclusive cover, and this one is definitely the worst option. I wouldn't really mind the cover art if it didn't have that ugly yellow border. I just don't like this one at all, and I think the yellow is extremely distracting. So my overall opinion on this release probably won't hinder you picking this one up, as I'm sure everyone will be grabbing a copy for their kids. Now granted, I already have a copy, but I wouldn't rush out on day one to grab this. If anything, I would just get the digital download and then wait for it to come out on Disney+. I didn't hate the movie, and I didn't hate the video or the audio, but it's just not enough of an effort to make me say the physical release is going to be that much better. I found very little difference between this and the digital stream that was released a few weeks ago. I am really curious to see how long this takes to hit Disney+, as I'm sure they will want to get as many people to grab this as they can before releasing it to their streaming service. I wouldn't expect it on there until this summer at the very least. So hopefully this review has helped your decision a little bit and maybe saves you a few bucks if you didn't already pick it up on release day. Even if you wait a few weeks, there's still going to be plenty of copies. Drop a comment down below and let me know what your thoughts are on this, and if you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, consider doing so as I review your favorite 4K releases each and every single week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!